if someone was singing along during
I was singing along.
Like, out loud? Out loud.
Yeah, out loud.
People didn't pay to
loud.
hear you sing. People didn't pay to hear you sing.
I mean, you're not wrong about that. There are going to be sing-along versions of it coming
so
out.
Go to the sing-along version. And, like, I can only imagine how horrible that's going to be. Please don't sing.
Like, I know, I did go to musical theater school. It's not like I'm a terrible singer, but fine.
Wicked is the movie that people are probably, speaking of theater people, do you think that anybody who is not a theater kid or a theater aficionado cares about this movie?
No, I mean, I was thinking about that yesterday. So, I don't know. I mean, the cast is pretty, I don't know. It's a really good question. I don't know any of those type of people.
But you do, because because
you're right,
where we work, well, like, not even just where we work, but we work adjacent to movies. And I was surprised that some of our coworkers were like, I don't care about this movie.
Who? Send me names. It's interesting because I had a couple of people message me. Like one of my editors was like, I saw it yesterday. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. La 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 la. So, and they live in Brazil. Maybe it's a Brazilian thing. I don't know.
Do they have a theater background?
I don't know.
Okay, that'd be interesting because I was surprised when one of our team members was like, "Oh, I don't care," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." But was
it somebody younger theatrical. Or older?
Well, what's everyone's younger than me, so what's
Fair
that
enough,
quantification?
Okay. Well, I just feel like I thought Ariana Grande would be such a draw for the younger crowd. Mind you, she's old now too, so who knows?
Well, okay, let's talk about this. I felt everybody in the movie was really old, and I kind of thought about it afterwards. I'm like, oh yeah, they're supposed to be in university, but first I was like, oh, they're in high school. These people are way too old to be in high school, but they are in a university. It's called Shiz University, but still, everyone in this cast is quite old. They look like they're in the 30s.
Like, yeah, I felt this, especially Fierro when he first came on screen. But I just realized now, you're right, they are in university. I was like, he's way too old to be in high school when I saw it. But he got younger looking. But his first time on stage, I was like, is that guy 60? Like, why is he flirting with the young girls from Shiz?
You did think he was 60, but he does look like pushing late 30s.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
But Cynthia Erivo, too.
Before he shot that scene. See, I thought she looked great. I thought she played it really well and young, too. I thought she actually looked... But then later in the movie, she seemed a bit older too. It's all about the way they walk too, right? And just the way you carry yourself. Sometimes, there's little things you can do that make you look a bit younger. Just even the way you, like, motions you make, I think. Anyways, I totally agree. They were all too a little old. It was like Dear Evan Hansen.
Never saw that movie, but like Ben Platt. It's like, but then it's like, that like old. 50. Why not just like have Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel play the roles and then just DH them down? That'd have been weird. That would have been weird.
Well, I think that thing is that, oh my gosh, I don't know if you can tell right now, but the sun just came out here in Vancouver. Holy moly, it's coming on me hot. I think that they weren't a big enough draw to bring people in, right? Like it's Ariana Grande. Like I think that's going to sell tickets over Kristen Chenoweth in a lead of a film to the non-theater people.
That's a good point, but then also further to that, Ariana Grande has never led a movie before. I know that there's a story that's going around that when Cynthia Erivo auditioned for the movie, she auditioned with two women in the Glinda role, and they weren't Ariana Grande. Same thing with Ariana Grande. She auditioned with two women in the Elphaba role, and they were not Cynthia Erivo. They didn't meet till they were cast. And so Amanda Seyfried from Mamma Mia, she had said that she was one of the people who auditioned. I don't know if she was one of the final two, but she had alluded to being up for the opportunity. I don't know who the other people were, but Amanda Seyfried is arguably a movie star that draws in audiences. But like, has she ever headlined
movie
a film
stars and pop stars are bigger than movie stars, I think, right?
Yeah, but then look at Madonna and Evita. Do you think that people came to see Evita for Madonna or for Evita?
Well, that was 30 years ago. That was also 30 years ago, and social media didn't exist. Hyper fame didn't really exist. So,
of course it did. Back then, Madonna and Michael Jackson were more famous than anybody who is famous today.
Yes, but you couldn't have the same reach to them that you have today of your pop star. Like you couldn't go onto Instagram to find out what Madonna was doing in that moment 30 years ago. I think that now people are so attached to their Ariana Grandes.
But I think that's what increased the appeal about Madonna, because you couldn't get all that access to her. So you're like, what's happening here? Who is this lady? I want to know more. I'm going to watch her on this talk show tonight. I'm going to watch her on the MTV Movie Awards because that's the only access I get to this personality. That's why Michael Jackson was larger than life, because the only access you had was the ones that he decided to give you. And so now it's kind of oversaturated. And so when you see these people, you can be like, yeah, I do relate to them. They're kind of my friend. Or I see all their faults and flaws, like when Ariana licked the donut and like put it back, and like everyone's like, she's horrible, and I'm like, okay, she's a kid.
I loved it. Yeah, she was so young back then. You're right, she was a kid.
And like, but how old is she now? Like, she's still under 30, right?
No, she's got to be 30 something.
I guess we could look it up.
If only there was a device we could find out.
It's like, yeah, I'd be curious to know how old she is. But everyone in the show looked really old. Also, I thought was interesting at the cast is that you have these like amazing singers, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and then you go and cast other people who cannot sing.
Yeah, I was just listening to the soundtrack this morning, and I was listening to Michelle Yeoh sing, speak names, and she started filming that movie the day after she won the Oscar. Right? She literally left the Oscars and flew to that set. So it was all about her time, by the way, she is so good in this movie. Zayn and I, by the way, I guess we haven't even said that Zayn and I got to see it last night. She is. Yeah. I think Michelle Yeoh just is a beast on stage in this movie. I don't care that she couldn't sing. Her song had 6 lines in it. It didn't bother me.
Is that the same in the stage show? Like, does she?
Yeah, although I don't remember. I think she might sing some more in the second act, right? In the second part. Okay. But yes, in the stage show, it's very minimal. And in fact, I don't remember that character having as much presence in the stage show as it has in the movie. But that doesn't mean anything. I saw the original cast on Broadway. It's been 20 years, 25 years or whatever it's been on. So yeah, I saw it a week before the Tonys. Yeah. That's actually really funny. So my girlfriend I was with, who took me, who I was sitting with, said to me at intermission, she goes, I don't know what to watch, the show or you watching the show? Because I just get like so into it. Ariana Grande's 31, by the way. She's 31 years old.
I'm now looking up how old Jonathan Bailey is. And he is how old? He's 36. He's 36.
Oh yeah, he's 36. He's too old. However, and I don't know if this is on Jonathan Bailey, but the choreography was great, and he was able to he was a great dancer. But some of that choreography was just so good, it just made me want to bop in my seat. Lots of spoilers, so I don't want to talk about that. But there's such a great movie.
You were in the theater you went to see it in. You were applauding after all the songs.
I was, me and my friend.
Fucking annoying to me.
Why?
You were doing that.
Why is that annoying?
Because I'm watching a movie. I'm watching a movie. I'm not at that stage show. Calm down.
Okay. Have you never been to a movie where people applaud at the end of the movie or anything?
I have been. It's that's why I like to go see movies on the opening weekend, because I'm I want people to cheer when the weird cameo happens in Deadpool or someone shows up. But
so then why does it make nobody cares?
Well, no one's doing it, and then there's 2 people. If there's 2 people doing it, it's shut up. If everyone's doing it, it's a collective cool. That's what we're doing here. But if no one's doing it and there's one person, if someone was singing along during I was singing along. Out loud? Out loud.
Yeah, out loud.
People didn't pay to hear you sing. People didn't pay to hear you sing.
I mean, you're not wrong about that. There are going to be sing-along versions of the
Sure, so go to the sing-along version. And I can only imagine how horrible that's going to be. But it's I want to hear how the director made this film. I want to hear the singers that were cast in the film sing. Please don't sing.
Now, I did go to musical theater school. It's not like I'm a terrible singer, but fine. Fair, you're right. Actually, funny story, I digress quickly. I went to see Barbra Streisand a bunch of years ago, and of course, was singing, and this woman tapped me and my girlfriend. She was like, I paid to hear Barbra.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
But the girl I was with, she's a big musical theater person. She was in Dear Evan Hansen, blah, blah, blah. She clutched her pearls. She was like,
anyway. Well, yeah, because it's not your show. Even when singers are they want to take a break, and then they hold the microphone to Beyonce or Janet when they do that. I'm no, sing the song. I want you to sing your ballad. I don't want you to have people mangle the lyrics around. Maybe do it for a verse. It's cute. Oh, so we love you.
This is a you thing.
No.
This is a you thing.
No.
So yeah, anyways, I love the movie. I don't want to give too much away about it. It's interesting that Zayn and I were talking about it because we were trying to figure out, we've known each other for 25 years now. And we met in university. And we have an alphabet and Linda relationship. And so out of curiosity, we took the Glenda alphabet test to see who was who. And the results are, obviously, I'm Glinda, and Zayn is the ever struck sorrow alphabet.
And I
So,
we briefly talked about it before we saw the movie, and I was like, which one am I? And you were like, without
yeah,
a
it was so
doubt.
obvious to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
then
were
I watched the
shocked.
movie. Well, I was kind of like, oh. Then I was like watching the movie. I'm like, how could I think that I was Glinda? I'm a very much Elphaba person. Everything she did and went through, I was like, oh yeah, that's me. That is me.
Yeah. It's totally
This is
you.
my biopic as a
Yeah,
musical.
whereas it's like you walk into a room and you're just like, right?
Do I
It's
walk
like
into a
how,
room with that? I don't think so.
okay,
There's a
yeah,
nuance. It's either that or it's profuse
or it's like,
joy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They have a term for that, it's called bipolar. Yeah.
Actually, someone asked me if I was that. Um,
Aren't we all a little bipolar
I'm
anyway?
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so Wicked, go check it out. I tell you, I mean, there's so
You
many
know,
little treats in there, and especially if you know the movie or the show, and there's lots of little treats for you. I can't. I'll see it again. I'll see it over. I can't wait for part two. It was 3 hours long. Could have been 4. I didn't care.
oh, no. I was like, edit this shit down. Why is this so long? Cut some shit.
There's so many. What is wrong with you?
I was like,
It was
why is
just
this?
pure
Get to
joy.
the song. No, there was beautiful. Okay, I'll say there was a lot of cool pop culture references from this is what I inferred from the Lion King, the Planet of the Apes to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. You took those references. I said that too, but I didn't even think that they were references. I was like, oh look, it's Simba. I said, oh look, it's Karen Coneville because she was in Planet of the Apes, and I was like,
You know what? And this is the thing. This is where I was like, I know. Obviously, we know it turns into the Wizard of Oz, and I was like, why is there this focus on this lion? Like, what is Simba? Are they trying to be funny about Disney? Then I'm like, duh, it's the Cowardly Lion.
yeah, he
Totally
becomes
forgot.
the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, I totally forgot. I don't know why I forgot that, but I was like, oh, that's Simba, and I'm like, that's so funny. But there's other things the way they shot, like Michael Jackson's Thriller. Like, there's this hallway scene where the winged monkeys come through. I'm like, this is Thriller. Like, I wonder
Oh,
what
I
John
never thought
Chu
about that.
used. There's a bunch of. I haven't seen the movie. I wasn't taking notes, but there was some other stuff. I'm like, oh, that's a pop culture reference. That's a pop culture reference. But also, there's a lot of tie-ins to the actual Wizard of Oz movie. But even when you talk about when we went to university, the last theater show I ever directed was The Wiz.
And it was a show I was against you doing
you
too,
tried
right?
to stop it.
I tried to stop it from happening.
Why we are frenemies to this day, because you tried to stop that production.
I did.
And I was like, are they going to acknowledge The Wiz in this movie? And I really felt when they got to Emerald City, that was an homage to The Wiz.
Well, see, even some of the choreography too, right? Some of the style, the choreography. And I don't know if you remember when they got to Emerald City, one of the first group, you see these group of women come dancing towards the screen. And it was like maybe 8 of them. And they were all, and they were just,
they're all black women. And it was like, yes. And I was like, there it is. There it is. And even there was some really cool appearances. I'm sure by the time someone sees this, you're going to know what I'm referring to. But spoiler alert, there was okay, this is an extravaganza.
Right.
In their show.
Good term.
Right.
Good job.
I was like, that's where the cheering should have happened. And I wish some people cheered in my theater. No one did. And I was like,
I cheered.
I was like, it was smart.
Trust.
I'm sure you did. And I thought that was cool. But I thought about that too. And I was like, this is The Wiz. This is an homage to The Wiz. And I kept thinking about how you tried to stop it. And the thing is, I think one of your arguments was because it wasn't an all black cast. But seeing Emerald City, it's like, it doesn't need to be. This is why it can be a multicultural version of The Wiz. And I was like, I think that Emerald City representation of Wicked showed you can do a multicultural version of The Wiz should someone choose to do it again.
Sure.
However, the Broadway version that just happened was not multicultural. It was all black.
But isn't that the point of The Wiz? That it was supposed to be about black culture and black representation, and then that was the point of it. And the mistake was made in the original Wizard of Oz. But it was a different time back then, and that perhaps there could have been more, representation in that. But then there was,
and I think that
because there was none. I can't even think of a character that wasn't white. I mean, there was a couple Munchkins, I think, right?
I don't other than that, I'd have to look back and see that, but I bet there wasn't. And it's interesting because when you think about representation, with John Chu having the opportunity to direct this film, of course, he probably was like, I want to see myself reflected in there. That's why Michelle Yeoh is in there. That's why Bowen Yang's in there.
Bowen Yang, by the way, kept up with the dancing. I was like, way to go, Bowen.
Do you think it was? Oh, I don't know, Jeff. Maybe you went to musical theater school. I'm not sure. Okay. But yes, it's interesting how you can have that representation. An article I just read was that they, Cynthia and Ariana, and even Kristen Chenoweth said that Glinda might be a little bit queer, that she's a little bit in the closet. What are your thoughts? You just stop. What was that noise you made?
I hate that word so much.
Why do you? I know you do. Why do you not like that word?
I just don't like the word queer. I mean, maybe it's from my childhood. I don't know. We can unpack that another day, but it's just not my favorite word. And also, like, everybody's queer these days. So what's one
I don't like the
more?
word, but everybody's queer. Okay, sorry.
And
What did you
like,
just say?
does it surprise me that Glenda's gay? No. Does it surprise me that she's a lesbian? Yeah. They're very different things.
Wait, gay and lesbian are very different things?
Yeah, like I think of like Glinda, and I'm like, yeah, pink, gay. But I don't think of Glinda being like, yeah, let's go drive trucks and play space softball or baseball like lesbians do. Anyways, let's move on.
I just have one question. We didn't talk about this earlier. When we talked about the quiz, the Alphaba Glinda quiz,
Yeah,
you said why I'm Alphaba, but why are you Glinda?
because I'm a joy and also a little delusional about who I am, and also like love pink, and
Yeah.
like I'm a like I'm a lover. People follow my lead, maybe, and they shouldn't sometimes. But whereas when you walk into a room, you walk in with you're very like okay, you suss it out. Whereas I just come in, where I'm in command. You come in and you suss it out first, right? I've referred to you. Anybody that has maybe watched any of our interactions before knows that I also think that you're the Eeyore to my Paddington Bear, right? Or not Paddington Bear, Winnie the Pooh, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty like and then you're just like I hate everything.
I don't hate everything. It's a strong word.
Okay, I'm sorry. You dislike a lot of stuff immensely.
Yeah, that's correct. I also have to point out you're not wearing your headphones.
You what?
You're not wearing your headphones.
Oh my god. No wonder I couldn't hear you.
Oh.
Hey, where did I? Anyways,
Oh, it's so much better.
the other reason I think that you're the alphabet and I'm the Glinda is because, and I said this to you the other day, and I think it has something to do. Well, to me, Glinda, because she's green, it deals with a race issue in Wicked, right? Like she's judged based on how she looks, and I think that you've probably experienced that judgment in your life at points where you are people look at you and they decide something immediately just based on, sadly, the color of your skin. And that happens every day. And I feel like that was also the bit of the connection between the two of us. Whereas I had white privilege, you did not, which is the same thing that's happening between Glinda and Alphaba.
That is a really, really interesting statement that I kind of forgot when I watched the movie. I thought about that, especially like you've seen the stage show. She sees it when they're like, "What's your heart's desire?" And earlier in the show, she's like, "I don't want to be green anymore.
Yeah,
I want to change
it's
my
about
greenness."
bullying at the end of the day. It's just being about bullied because of who she was. And that's what made her become evil. And I don't want to make this so dark and such, but if you look at like some of the terrible things that have happened in mostly the United States with guns and kids in schools, it's the kids that turned evil based on how they were treated by the people in their surroundings. A lot of the times when you hear what they did, it was how people treated them, and that's why they went after certain people. And so it's a really dark view on how drastic bullying can be, right? Like as someone who was deeply bullied in school, it really that's how that resonated with me. Maybe it's because of that experience I had.
And further to that, what's interesting is that there's two things I need to say based on that. Is that why this is the right time for this movie to come out and for it to resonate is when the wizard, Jeff Goldblum's character, says the best way to bring people together is to have a united enemy. To bring them together. And I was like, that is such a parallel to what's happening in America right now, but in the world. People come together because they need something to hate, to be against. It brings people together. But also, what gets you out of that bullying and that self-hatred is because when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, I like it's faded now, but I was like, I wish I wasn't brown. Like when you say that thing about the white privilege, it is so true. There's so many things that like, even in the industry, like the industry has changed a lot, and I have no desire to really be an actor anymore. But when I got out of theater school and not leaning into the directing thing, I was always like being typecast as like terrorist, cab driver.
Right.
I don't look like either of those, but it's because you're brown and like I'm Indian. Those aren't like. But
a friend of
when
mine,
she had something to, I just want to say that when she had something to stand for, that's when she's like, my heart's desire is not to change my skin color. It's to help my cause, which was to help the animals.
She
found something that was greater than herself. And I was like, that's what's brilliant about this. Yeah, it's a beautifully shot film. Yeah, there's colorful. It's literally colorful, but there's colorful performances. But at the core, it is like, it's a very powerful piece of social commentary.
It's very powerful. And I wept. I cried a lot. And
did you?
Oh my God! Yes, the dance and the dance. Oh my God!
That's not in the stage show, right?
No, not at all. And I was saying the difference too in the movie. What you get is you get a close up on their faces, right, which you don't get in the theater. So you get to really see the emotion. Because Cynthia Erivo was amazing. She evoked so much emotion in just her face and being covered in makeup. It was fabulous. But we've beaten Wicked to the end. Let's throw some water on it and let it melt.
I don't think so. I think
that's a Wizard of Oz reference. In case you haven't seen the Wizard of Oz, because you have,
if someone's listened this long at this point, they have some kind of vested interest in Wicked.
That's true.
The witch lore.